welcome to the Nurse Rosa's Insights podcast. I'm your host, Rosa Hart, and today I get to introduce you to Jeremy Bronen. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you for having the toilet guy.
You have your own company, SedMed, and you are an inventor. So, I am really excited about your creation here. I've had quite a few people on this podcast so far who are clinicians with backgrounds as like a nurse or a doctor or something like that. And lots of people in industry with lots of administrative experience. But I've only had, I think, one other inventor on here so far. So I'm really excited for you to share your background because it'll be different than a lot of the others. Um, did you want to invent a better toilet when you were little? Like, is that a lifelong dream for you?
Pretty close. They used to have to peel away my Bob the Builder tool belt when I was a kid because I
Oh,
wouldn't want to take it off. So, maybe
that's
not invent the toilet, but I did love, looking at how things were made in the world and trying to make my own things.
okay. So then what did you go to school for?
So I went to UConn, University of Connecticut, for mechanical engineering school. My dad was actually in healthcare, or still is in healthcare. He's a neuroradiologist, and that kind of got the wanting to help people bug from him, and the healthcare side of things. And then also he had the workshop, so it was kind of a natural progression to go to engineering school, where I quickly learned that maybe I liked being a product innovator or company innovator as opposed to a super technical mechanical engineer. And now at the company, we have much smarter engineers than myself.
And how did you come across your invention that we're going to talk about today?
Yeah. So when I was studying engineering at UConn, they all students do capstone projects, where sponsor comes in, sponsors a project, and my sponsor actually was living with a very close family friend, so close they called her grandma. And she suffered from a stroke, became wheelchair bound, couldn't get up and off the toilet. And they had to hire an expensive caregiver, and things just got messy, right? And it was not fun for anybody. So my sponsor, being a tinkerer himself, an engineer, sponsored my project. And at first I was like, a toilet lift. Um, and then I really started to fall in love with the problem. The more I got into it, the more I really realized how severe of a problem it was and what the consequences are. And the more I looked at it, the bigger it got.
Okay. So summarize the problem for us.
Yeah. So people with disabilities and older adults and people in rehab or recovery are constantly struggling to get on and off the toilet. That's one of somebody's ADLs, or activities of daily living: getting in and out of bed, brushing your teeth, toileting. These are all things that a lot of people take for granted. But like I said, when you're in one of those groups, it can be really hard. And my job and our job is to make that a lot easier. But I can get into the other even more on the problem, but I'll stop there for now.
Well, and you tapped into the patient side of things, right? But one thing that really struck me in our introductory conversation was your understanding of how much that person's need for assistance affects other people as well, whether it is their paid staff in a healthcare scenario, and maybe that person who's struggling to get on and off the toilet. It weighs a lot, and if they need more help, that can hurt the backs of the people that are helping them, let alone, and that it's trained personnel that we're talking about with like appropriate numbers of people to help. But what about people who go home and their family member is the one helping them, and they may or may not be trained, and they definitely are not going to have expensive hospital grade equipment.
Mhm.
And a lot of the hospital grade or nursing home like structured equipment is big and bulky and wouldn't even fit in somebody's house anyway, as far as like lifts that are on the ceiling or lifts that are you roll from one person's room to another and lift them out of the bed to go toilet. Those are not very home friendly options. And they require some finessing to really get the flow of using them. So I really appreciate how what you've designed is flexible and could be used in a lot of different settings.
No, I appreciate that. And just to hammer it home, I mean, I don't know if people realize, but people 85 and older actually suffer more than 50% of their injuries near the toilet, right? So the bathroom, slippery floors, vasovagal, hard tile, it's one of the most dangerous places in a home or a hospital room. And like you said, staff members sometimes lifting up to twice or more their weight of an individual on and off the toilet. So honestly, it's just disastrous as it currently is. And so, kind of therein lies big problem. What can we do about it? And that's how the company really was started and how we've gotten this far.
Yeah, you want to describe it for people who like we're not looking at it, and a lot of people will listen to this on the audio version only. So, can you describe what you've come up with?
Absolutely. So I founded SedMed. SedMed short for Sedentary Medical Solutions. And our flagship product is the SedMed Toilet Lift Assist. And it is essentially a glorified toilet seat. So it mounts onto any toilet, 2 bolts, 2 minutes. That quick, that simple. Just replaces the old toilet seat. And what it actually does is it lowers somebody down gently, locks for safety, and then lifts up to 80% of their weight off the toilet with no electricity. So it's essentially there to reduce crash landings where people can often, kind of crash down or healthcare workers can get injured lowering somebody. And our lift assist mechanism does that work for them and lifts them off.
That is just incredible. And without electricity. So, it's like a springboard kind of situation.
Exactly. So it's a gas spring. So same thing in an office chair, porch screen door, car hood. And we've taken that and mechanically optimized it.
And you said up to 80% of their weight. So, what would be the weight limit that it could be maximally effective for a person?
So it goes up to 500 pounds. Sweet spot is 75 to 300 pounds. But everybody's different. Everybody's center of mass is different. Everybody's height, weight. And so it fits most people. And, for those that it doesn't, and we're getting inquiries for bariatric and pediatric, we'll meet those inquiries always.
You're getting inquiries for pediatric under 75 pounds?
Unfortunately, yes.
What are some of those scenarios?
So I'm not healthcare backgrounded, so I won't try to dive too deep into it. But the more I've come to learn the hospital market, in addition to the elder care market, just in general, um, you know, toileting and toilet transferring is a really big issue, whether it's, post-operative cardiac, thoracic, abdominal, ortho, or just, going down the geriatric or even, women and children's, right? So the more we dive into this space, the more we learn that there's this like weird sweet spot where nobody wanted to get their hands dirty, maybe by going in the bathroom, but where all of these falls and struggles are happening, right? And so, unfortunately, children's is a big part of that as well too.
I guess it
Now,
would be more like injuries post-op, stuff like that with children, I guess.
yeah, it's pediatric isn't our core focus right now, but yeah, that or even oncology, right? I mean, if you're recovering or if you just have weakness, giving you a little extra boost with some of your ADLs is, I think.
Yeah. That is really awesome that it's so flexible. It can go on any normal toilet seat. I mean, not have to bring in any big bulky equipment that won't even fit through a normal door. And
Not only that, but you know, I'm sorry, but let's put ourselves in those shoes for a second. I mean, do you want to get put in a Hoyer lift, right, or a crane, essentially a human crane, especially if you got to go, right? Or would you rather something where you have a little bit more independence and dignity, that's a little bit quicker too? And I think there's the aspect of the safety, the efficacy, and then um, the dignity, and then also, I don't like atrophying muscles. My goal with a lot of SedMed patients is let's get them up and off of it, right? Let's get them back to prior levels of function, and that's why we don't do 100% lift.
Exactly. And like from my ICU experience, we definitely wanted to mobilize patients as early as possible because then they're going to have the best experience. And a lot of the times it was a challenge to get people on and off the toilet, especially if they have this new one sided weakness. Like yesterday, they could do everything themselves, and today, half their body on one side doesn't work. But that sounds like the perfect tool for someone who, well, you said it was inspired by someone who had had a stroke. So obviously that was the starting point. Um, but where you've got one side of your body is strong and the other side, you got to learn to compensate. And so that sounds like a great way to transition into those moving transitions from standing to sitting and back and forth. So, what are you doing as far as where are you at in the process with safety studies?
Yeah, so we've got one study in the mix right now, ongoing, with Montefiore Hospital in New York, and then we've got a number of other hospitals that we're currently working with or about to start working with, that want to start jumping into studies as well. Um, and again, I think the reason why it resonates is because of the statistics, that are widely available in the dangers of the bathroom.
They are dangerous. You can't just put carpet in there and make it less slippery now.
No, you cannot.
It's not
And I
an
don't think
answer.
we want that.
Do what?
I don't think we'd want that either.
No, no.
Yeah.
So, what is your vision going forward? Like, I think this point I'll ask you the $1 billion question. If you were given a grant for $1 billion to meet the needs that you see, how would you like to see it used to make the most sustainable impact?
Yeah. No, I appreciate the question. So because it's funny, it doesn't really change the vision of the company, right? It changes the acceleration. But to me, I love the activities of daily living space and mobility product space. I think there's a lot of focus on certain areas where it's just companies are just pouring resource into just that microcosm of an area. But then for the most part, it's just a really outdated and, archaic, industry of medical, durable medical products for people with disabilities, older adults, people in recovery. So I see this company, being a global ADL starting premium mobility products company, and opening up to, the masses, going far beyond the toilet. Toilet is where we're starting and taking over, and we've got a lot of interesting platforms, coming for that. But I guess what I would say to that is, for the $1 billion question is, picture any area you saw a loved one, be it an older adult or whoever. Think about all of the times they struggled physically, right? In terms of moving around, doing ADLs, whatever it might be. We're all living longer. We're all going to be getting, hopefully, to this point, right? What the old adage is, aging beats the alternative, right? So hopefully we're all going to get to this point. So SedMed is going to be there and wants to be there for everybody as they age to these points where they can still maintain that dignity and independence, not rely 100% on being deadlifted, but get, ergonomic advantages that help them live the life they want to live.
Definitely. And do you already have some other patents out there you can talk about? I guess you wouldn't want to tell me about anything you don't already have a patent on, right?
No, it's all good. Let's just sign up every viewer and listener to an NDA, and then we're all good to talk about
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. Um, and then I think you had another part of your answer to this question, right?
You know, I'm a big animal lover, so I think if I had $1 billion, I mean, when do puppies not cure, you know, a sad day, right? A case of the Mondays. So if I could launch a shelter or two, bring some puppies, some service animals into some hospitals, children's hospitals, just, kind of lighten everybody's moods. I think right now we do a lot of in-servicing, right? We take care of our
Mhm.
customers, go in person a ton, and healthcare is really hard, and being a nurse right now is really hard. And so I think that would be a nice, not too big of a dent into the $1 billion grant budget to just give everybody a little bit more sunshine from a little puppy walking around, right?
Well, that is just wonderful. That's holistic care right there. You help people with their feelings and go into the bathroom. I mean, just like I don't know how you could not have a good day if you take care of those two things. But
Great.
yeah. So I know you have global aspirations for SedMed and everything. Are there any other ideas you've come across, like other companies, as you've been learning the business of healthcare and getting your product out there? Are there any other things that you're excited about that you've encountered?
Um, yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of really cool things. I mean, we go to a lot of trade shows, so what that allows us to see is what's next in healthcare. And so there's a lot of exciting things out there. To be honest, I think the one area that I think is cool, but I'm less excited about is there's a lot of fall detection coming out right now. And that's all good and well, but I want to be on the fall prevention side of things, right?
Yeah.
So I think, it's really important to detect them and be able to respond immediately. But I would like to see even more companies doing things like we're doing. And I've seen some, which has been great, but you know, that's an area of opportunity, I think, still.
I love that. So another part of your goal, it sounds like, is to just make fall detection obsolete,
That's a great point. Yeah. That you know what better way to say it? Exactly.
right? So I don't know, maybe next time we're at a trade show or something, you should start one of these things where it's like, I'm coming for you. I'm coming to put you out of business.
Yeah, I like that.
Because what is it like Wendy's and McDonald's? Don't they have like, they had like Twitter wars where they would like talk smack to each other? Is that who it was?
I think so, yeah. The Wendy's
Yeah.
makes no prisoners, yeah.
Yeah. I think that should be like your new shtick, like friendly harassing the fall detection companies. Like, watch out, I'm coming to put you out of business.
That could be fun. That could be very fun.
As long as they have a good sense of humor.
Yeah. But no, you're spot on, right? I mean, that's our goal is really to put those companies out of business. To put that, aspect. Um, that couldn't say it any better myself.
Now, I see obviously like hospitals are really like motivated to prevent falls and the costs associated. But
It's
for
never
people, yeah, but like for people in homes, like how do you see this being affordable for people to be able to get these installed in their homes?
Yeah, great question. And that is a really important part of SedMed's journey. I can't speak too much actually to the details because we've got some exciting stuff going on there, at least publicly, but
Yeah.
a lot of falls do happen at home in the bathroom. And with this baby boomer population, it's only increasing. And let's just kind of put it like this: SedMed will be there. SedMed's there now, but SedMed will be there even more to help anybody age gracefully and safely in their home.
Okay. Well, when this is available to go in people's homes, I want you to post about it. I want you to tag me so I can reshare it
Yeah, well, it
because
is available now, just to be clear.
is it?
Yes, we primarily work with hospitals and elder care systems. But we've got something interesting in the mix for people at home. However, people do ask, they see the product when they go to the facility and they say, I want this at home. And we say, okay, yeah, that's fine. So we do sell to people at home.
Oh,
But
okay.
we've got something special coming out too.
Oh, you're such a tease. I want to know. Ugh. Okay. But then you're going to tag me so I can reshare it.
Yeah, it'll be on the whole thread with Wendy's, McDonald's, and the fall detection companies.
That'll be epic. All right. No copyright infringement intended. Epic. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing your heart for saving people from falls and back injuries related to toileting. And if you've enjoyed this episode of the Nurse Rosa's Insights podcast, definitely subscribe wherever you are listening, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can follow me on social media everywhere at Nurse Rosa Speaks. Where can they find you, Jeremy? Do you want people to reach out to you directly if they have a hospital and they want you on all their toilets?
Sure, we're on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. We've got a website, and we also post a bunch on YouTube, actually. So definitely feel free to reach out, and it was super awesome being on the podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And I will post links to your website in the show notes. So look for it there if you need to reach out to Jeremy. And I will see you in the next episode.
Don't forget to subscribe.